Ousmane Dembele. You know, when you talk about someone finding his home at a club, finding his comfort and producing, you know, he's had to play second fiddle to Mbappe, to Messi, to Neymar, big names, and it's never quite happened for him. But he's just put it all together, and he's looking like, again, we looked at Harry Kane, a Ballon d'Or. If PSG go and win this tournament, which I think they're very, very capable of, he could be a Ballon d'Or. It's spread out amongst 5 or 6 players. It'll all come down to who can get the job done in the Champions League.
How much of that as well is finding the right manager? Because it's really been quite transformative for him under Luis Enrique.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading a lot about him, how they're trying to... You mentioned the Ballon d'Or. That was a conversation that he said to him at the start of the year. Look, if the team does well and you've got a great opportunity and you will be the leader in this. And obviously, I'm keen to know what he had for Christmas, what he ate over Christmas, because he's come back into 2025 absolutely superb. But yeah, it's definitely... Luis Enrique's got the best out of him, but I do have to agree with Joe. Sometimes when the shadows of other people kind of go, you have to step up and you can kind of hide and give the ball to those other players because they're the senior, the big stars. But actually now you have to step up, and Luis Enrique said that to him and dangled the carrot and various individual awards and said, well, go on, this is your time and you have the quality, and he's certainly showing it this season.
What did you think of the chances that Liverpool had tonight?
Frustrated. As Joe mentioned actually last week, you're thinking, you know, it was a smash and grab this weekend. No, tonight rather, they had the opportunities and just didn't take them, whether it was Donnarumma, you know, Salah maybe not having his clinical moments when you expected it to go to. But yeah, look, unfortunately for Liverpool, it just wasn't their night tonight, and I'm sure we'll get to see the chances in a second, but they had quite a few, didn't they, Joe? Yeah,
I mean, they just, like I said, the overall performance from box to box for Liverpool was a lot better. You know, there was a synergy. They looked more themselves. The crowd were driving them on, but PSG soaked it all up. You know, they soaked it all up. This is a lovely touch from McAllister, and the vision to pick out Salah. We all thought he's going to just let it go. Look, there, it opens up. He could have shot. You know, and what a block from Mendes again. Donnarumma getting down smartly to his right. You know, this was at this moment early on in the game. The Kop was rocking, Anfield were going, and there was just chances being created left, right and centre. You know, the blocks here, that's Pacho again. This is the difference in this PSG. I know we're talking about Liverpool's chances, but the difference in this PSG team is in stressful moments, they're calm. You know, even the goalie there, he's not tapping it into somebody, he's putting it into an area. They're dealing with set pieces. Liverpool had chances to win this game, no doubt. But over the balance of the course of the 2 legs, it would have to be a very, very, you know, biased Liverpool fan to say that the better team didn't go through, because PSG performed better. PSG created chances tonight. It was just a more balanced game. But I think the manager's right. I said that whoever wins this tie, I think you'll see them in the final. And I think PSG will get to the final. I think they're the best side I've seen left in the competition.
Well, Honest called them the most complete team after that first leg that they'd faced. And then it comes down to a penalty shootout. Obviously, Alisson in inspired form in that first leg, but Donnarumma as well. It is such a tough goalkeeper to go up against in a shootout.
Look how big he is, though, Linz. He's absolutely massive. I was saying to Joe, I was behind the goal for the penalties in the Euros. And he's just massive. He's such a big goalkeeper, and it scared me. But look, it's unfortunate. I don't think Darwin was at his best tonight, so I was very worried when he stepped up. I thought in his game he wasn't great, and I felt for Curtis because he's been brilliant this season. And look, you're up against it then, and for them to do that at Anfield as well, you know. It was their moment tonight, and it has been building, as Joe mentioned.
Nunez has obviously had a lot of criticism already this season, and then in a big moment, tough for him, but doesn't deliver. What next for Darwin Nunez?
Listen, he's a very, very good footballer, and he's had some fantastic moments in his Liverpool career, and he's going to be a league champion this year. You know, he's just not ready to lead the line for Liverpool regularly. That might not mean he needs to go to a club just at the second rundown, somewhere that maybe plays a little bit more suited to his style. I'm thinking something like an Atletico Madrid, you know, maybe one of the Italian teams. You know, you know, he needs to get out and play because he's one of them players you want him in your squad because you see him at the weekend, he's scoring goals, he runs. If you give him 5 minutes, he'll give everything for the team and for the cause. But ultimately, moments of quality. Tonight, there were some occasions when, right, this is it. This is when we need you to handle the ball, choose the right pass, you know, get us up the pitch. Not even score a goal. Score a goal, obviously, if you can. And he didn't. But for Darwin, I think his future probably lies elsewhere. But let's not forget, he's done a stellar job for this squad. He's just not ready to lead the line for Liverpool regularly.
And the question now, I guess, is how that leaves Liverpool going into that cup final on Sunday against Newcastle.
I'm sure you was very excited
night tonight. I was very excited when it went to extra time.
Liz wanted an extra time.
Well, PSG through, and they will face either Aston Villa or Club Brugge. Villa in pole position there, 3-1 up. Do you expect them having any problems tomorrow night finishing the job, Karen?
Well, you're talking about Newcastle and Liverpool. I'm a Birmingham fan, as everyone I always mention. But I have to do back Aston Villa in this. I thought that, you know, Club Brugge have shocked Atalanta in the previous round and they're a good team, they're well organised, but I think Aston Villa have just got that little bit about them. I think they have that, the manager has that experience and I don't think they won't win tomorrow.
Arsenal, they can pretty much put their feet up going into their second leg, can't they?
I think
wear their slippers for it.
I think us three could play in that game and Arsenal will still go through, judging by PSV's
You two might be able to, not me, I don't think.
Honestly, sometimes things infuriate you and you don't know why. And I just think, because how PSV have just let a game like that, like slip. You know, you want to just be in the game. Be losing 1-0, be losing 2-0, but have something to contend. They've got to come now. Now, it's, you know, they might as well go to Harrods in the daytime because when they play the game, it's, you know, they're just there for it. It's just wallpaper. You know, Arsenal will be a procession. They'll go and win the game. I just feel for the PSV fans, you know, who've probably bought their tickets to come here and see, and they haven't watched their team play against Arsenal reserves and probably get beat.
The Madrid derby, finally balanced. Real Madrid obviously have the lead from that one, but just home advantage for Atletico tomorrow. Could that help them swing it in their favour?
I think so. Look, it'll be an intimidating place, but I equally don't think Real Madrid players will be too kind of worried about that. There's experienced players that have been in hostile environments before. I thought in the first leg, for the first 20 minutes, Ancelotti tactically outdid, you know, Atletico, and they struggled with that, but got back into the game. And then obviously Diaz with that little bit of magic, whether he tripped over or not. But look, it's a tight game. You know, he kept them in it from Atletico's perspective, so it makes it all good for tomorrow's game. But I still back Real Madrid to go through. And
just quickly, Joe, Lille Dortmund, who goes through? Your all-club Lille. Can they do it at home?
Allez les dogs. Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, no, listen, my team, love them. Great. They've been fantastic this year. And I'd love to see them through to the last day. What an achievement it will be for everyone there. What a way to end the show with Joe speaking French once again. We love it. You can see all of those games tomorrow live on TNT Sports. Lille Dortmund, that's the early game. It gets underway at 5:30 on 4. Villa Bruges is on TNT Sports 1. All the build-up starts at 7 o'clock for that one. Arsenal's match on 2 and the Madrid derby is on 3. Merci beaucoup, Joe. Karen, thank you very much for your company tonight. That's it from the Champions League from this night when Bayern went through, Barca went through, Inter as well, but Liverpool
along the front three. When they had the ball, they played with 11. When they didn't play with the ball, they played with 8 players. Never going to win a big competition. This team can go all the way. I think they'll be going to play Aston Villa now. And I think Villa are going to be right up against it. This will be a difficult game for Aston Villa.
What about Liverpool, though? I mean, this is another, you know, there was originally a quadruple shout. Now that's been reduced to 2. So, you know, what are we thinking for Liverpool? How does Arne Slot get his side to bounce back? The league, fine, don't need to worry about that. But then, obviously, thinking about next Sunday and Newcastle.
Well, that's the thing. You've got to pick them up. Got to pick them up for the League Cup. I know it's a nice one to get picked up for, but they'll be disappointed. You know, playing here tonight, going out the Champions League, and you looked at the draw, and, you know, if they could have won, they would have probably played Aston Villa, where they'd have fancied themselves, even though I thought it would have been a hard game.
Yeah.
Now they've got to pick themselves up. The only bonus here is for Newcastle.
But I mean, how much will that extra 30 minutes plus penalties taken out of them? Not just physically, but psychologically.
Yeah,
as well.
I would think mentally losing the game. If they'd have won the game and won on penalties, that energy would have come. You get the air in the lungs. Now they'd be a bit distraught. They'd be disappointed. They've got to pick themselves up for a cup final against a team, you know, that haven't won a trophy since I was born. So it's a massive football match, big advantage to Newcastle tonight. Yeah,
and listen, you know, as I mentioned, you know, there was a potential quadruple. If Liverpool do go on to win that final and win the league, how would Arne Slot reflect on this? Going, well, actually, League and League Cup versus what else there could have been.
The Premier League's the holy grail. It's the holy grail.
Especially when you're Liverpool, I guess.
Yeah, of course, you've got to win the Premier League. You know, this would have been an absolute bonus. They go on and win the league. It'd be an absolute phenomenal season for Liverpool Football Club.
Merce, we appreciate you staying late to finish that one off for us. It's a shame about Liverpool, obviously, as far as Liverpool fans are concerned. They are out of the Champions League. PSG win that 4-1 penalties. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Now then, elsewhere, Harry Kane scored as Bayern Munich cruised into the last 8 with a 5-0 aggregate victory over Bayer Leverkusen. Bayern won it 2-0 on the night with Kane's goal his 10th in Europe this season, more than any Englishman has managed in one campaign. Bayern will now play Inter Milan after the Italian side progressed against Feyenoord. Barcelona beat Benfica 4-1 on aggregate.
Liverpool finally met their match this season, knocked out of the Champions League by a thrilling Paris Saint-Germain side in an enthralling tie that only penalties could decide. Both teams are runaway leaders in their domestic leagues, but though Arne Slot's side are blowing away everyone in the Premier League, they were unable to squeeze past the League One side in the tightest and most fascinating of last 16 games. It was only a shame that these two sides didn't meet later in the competition. Luis Enrique, the PSG coach, had made the bold claim that the winner would get to the final. It would have been a worthy addition. Bucket loads of shots, keepers busy, some of the finest attackers, midfielders and defenders testing each other to the extremes. They were inseparable over the two ties. Liverpool, accused of a smash-and-grab win with a goal from their only shot on target, after facing 27 in total, in Paris, turned up here to attack, rather than defend, their slender lead, but were left stunned by an early PSG counter. The goal momentarily silenced a rabid Anfield crowd. For 12 breathless minutes, they cheered every PSG mistake, whistled every touch, jeered every misplaced pass. Then PSG's goal came out of nowhere by the most fortuitous of circumstances. They broke swiftly, Ousmane Dembélé picking up the ball and feeding Bradley Barcola. When he played a low ball across the box, Ibrahima Konate slid in front of Alisson Becker, knocking the ball past his wrong-footed keeper and allowing Dembélé a tap-in. Anfield had been a giant balloon filling with pressure and intensity. Dembélé burst it from yards out. While many were still in hats and scarves mode, a not insignificant group of hardened PSG fans braved the cold by removing tops, kept warm by the combined heat of leaping up and down in unison and the furious pace and tempo on the pitch, Liverpool's attacking possession and their opponents' counters combining like matches and kindling. Meanwhile, Alisson was busy again blocking one-on-ones, while Virgil van Dijk prevented a Kvaratskhelia shot from flying in. But if they had seemed to be shrinking in the tie, Liverpool came out steaming in the second half, flooding PSG's half with attack after attack, forcing their previously forward-thinking opponents to worry defensively. They pressed and passed and chipped away, striking the inside of either post through Trent Alexander-Arnold and his replacement Jarell Quansah, while their opponents could barely get out of their own half. As legs grew tired, Liverpool grew into the game and had chances to win it. In the end, it was probably fitting that penalties were the only thing that could separate these two remarkable sides.
Huge boost for them.
And of course the next game they play is the Carabao Cup final against Newcastle, Sunday 1900 Mecca. And if they are as flat as Jason McAteer currently is, Newcastle win that.
Yeah, he's flat as a pancake.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. You know, it's been a fantastic season, and I got to the point, you were right, I got to the point where I felt we're hanging on now. I'm glad the league is kind of wrapped up. It's kind of ours, isn't it? And, you know, I just thought, have we got enough in the tank to go all the way? And it was a big, big ask against arguably the best team in Europe right now. Statistically, they are. And we got away with one in Paris, but I still wasn't convinced, them coming to Anfield, that Liverpool could get the job done. And it turned out that way, and yeah, I am disappointed. I am. It's You know, we've enjoyed our run under Jürgen with Europe, 3 finals, 4 if you count the Europa League. So we've been around, hanging around Europe for the last 4 or 5 years. So it's been a nice run, but not this year.
Has the manager got to go?
I'd definitely get rid of him at the end of the season. He's let me down. Out.
Help me with that again. Gravenberch. Is there a special way of saying Van Dijk?
No.
No. Okay.
No, you've done it well.
Okay, thank you. In which case, here is Virgil van Dijk.
Virgil, penalties are cruel always. It wasn't to be Liverpool's night tonight.
Unfortunately, no. So it was a very intense, great game of football, I think, and to be part of it as well. I think obviously it was a totally different Liverpool than what we showed in Paris. But unfortunately, we out on penalties, and that's the reality.
Was the key maybe not making the most of those chances you created, especially second half?
Well, I think even the first half, I think we created dangerous moments. Obviously, you know that they have the quality to create them as well. But yeah, eventually it comes down to penalties, and yeah, unfortunately we lose.
Yeah, what do you say about those guys who've stepped forward and obviously not scored?
It's part of football. I said to the guys, you know, don't be. Obviously, you can be disappointed because we're out of the competition, but it's chin up and get ready for the next challenge. It's a beautiful one on the weekend, so we go again.
Does it feel like a shock to the system, having been so good for so much of this season?
I think we were pretty good today as well.
I mean, just going out.
Well, yeah, obviously you want to go as far as possible. And obviously, when the draw came and we knew we had to play against PSG, we always knew that it was going to be very difficult. And we saw it obviously in Paris, where we struggled, but we won. And today I think we showed a much better Liverpool side. But unfortunately, about the competition, that's the reality, and we have to accept it.
How good are this PSG team? You can hear them celebrating. They obviously feel this is a huge win. What do they have that caused you problems maybe over the 2 games?
Well, especially the first game, I think. Obviously, the man-v-man press. The amount of times that we didn't find the right solution, the right pass, because there were loads of spaces to go in between them. And I think the game in Paris was definitely a game from Alisson, but we didn't do as well as we did today. I think today, from the first second till obviously in extra time, where obviously fatigue kicks in for both sides, then started to become a little bit more open. But I think, especially in the regular time, we showed a very good game. And but listen, we can speak about the game for ages, but we are out of the competition. That's the reality.
Will it feel like a missed opportunity in its way as well, having been so good in the league phase?
Well, it's part and parcel. If you're in the knockout stages where we are, and you play against PSG, which team is obviously very, very good, then there is a chance that you get knocked out. And unfortunately, it happens to us. But we have to accept it. We will.
Obviously, come again in this competition next season.
Champions League is an amazing competition to be part of, so keep fighting for it.
And a final, as you say, to look forward to at the weekend. There has to be a response. There's the great chance for it to be a special response.
Or response, I think
a victory.
If we would play with the same intensity and quality that we did first in regular time, then it's going to be a beautiful game. But the focus will be now on recovery, because everyone has to do that in order to be at their best in the weekend against a very good Newcastle, I think, in my opinion. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Neil and Kenny, you've been with me for a long and pulsating evening for the most part. The first half certainly was spectacular, kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit after that. I think maybe the energy drained out of both teams at certain times, but we have deserved winners in Paris Saint-Germain, lads. I think we're all saying that.
Yeah, I think over the 2 legs, especially, I mean, first leg they were phenomenal. We talked about Alisson before the game. He was the reason why I think Liverpool were still in the tie, and then spells tonight as well. I think first half as well, they had some great chances in the game. PSG, Liverpool, to be fair, second half were a lot better, But again, when we went into extra time, I thought PSG had the better of the chances, and another brilliant save from Alisson from Dembele in extra time as well.
We can have a look at the goal that got them back into it and ultimately got them the penalty shootout that got them through the tie.
Yeah, me and Kenny had a bit of a disagreement on Alisson at half time with regards to the goal. I mean, Lenny's right as well when it comes to Van Dijk. We think Van Dijk should be pressing here. Dembele turns in the middle of the pitch. Van Dijk's too far over, of course. And now they're banging trouble. Obviously, they're really stretched at the back. And I think Kanate, if you really want to break it down, can he go with his left foot and clear for a corner? He's overstretching. In Alisson's defence, I think he's definitely onside, as the sort of semi-automated offside shows. He's onside. But at this point, Alisson think that Kanate's not going to make it, and he's going to make himself big in the face of Dembele. It is a bit of a mix-up, don't get me wrong, but it's such a quick decision that Alisson has to make, and Dembele's left with a simple tap-in from a couple of yards.
Neil, where are you on that one?
Where am I on that one? It should never got
the blame.
It should never have got to that point, because they've pressed PSG right in the left-back position, one pass on, and Dembele's in 15 yards of space. I still don't know what Verge was doing so far over on his own left-hand side, instead of sliding across and stopping Dembele from getting turned and would have killed the attack off. In terms of the instant, I mean, it's a split-second decision for both of them, really. Kanate's on the stretch, going back, facing his own goal. Alisson's thinking he's trying to read the pass.
Liverpool created 3 or 4 really good opportunities and didn't score. And then, like Ruud said, Vitinha started getting on the ball, dictating tempo, started playing little passes. Then Dembele started becoming a nuisance and a pest. Barcola was starting to stretch him. Kvaratskhelia was getting on the ball, and then all of a sudden, bang! Out of nowhere, they get the equaliser to go 1-1 over, over the tie, and then it kind of cancelled each other out, didn't he? Liverpool dominated the second half, but without really asking Donnarumma too many questions, and they cancelled each other out. And Andy's right, last 15 minutes of extra time, you just felt, Liverpool were hanging on, and both teams just went to penalties, and it's a lottery, isn't it? It's a lottery with the penalties.
Too far ahead of ourselves, but I also think that has a bit of an impact on what happens Sunday. The extra time, and Liverpool now go into that final
Newcastle.
Flat.
It's like waiting for them.
Thank
you very much.
Yeah, the disappointment plus the extra time. There's 2 big factors that go in Newcastle's favour.
They've got to pick themselves up now.
But,
He said, hopefully.
Do we have to give also the coach an unbelievable compliment? Because in the beginning of the season they said, don't you miss all these big names and things? He said, no, I have the youngsters, I have them. And he showed it. They played excellent football, very mature also, and I think that we all agree, if Dembele makes better choices, even better choices, because he was losing the ball so many times for nothing. If he makes better choices, he can be one of the best players ever. But it's brilliant, and then sometimes you think to yourself, why you give this ball away?
He's hit and miss.
Plenty of time yet to discuss what's happened at Anfield, and we'll wait for reaction as well. Looking ahead to tomorrow, we have the other 4 ties. The early one, Lille Dortmund. There's life in that. Atleti Real Madrid, plenty in that. Aston Villa 3-1 up against Club Brugge. Villa win, they will play Paris in the quarterfinals, and Arsenal done. 7-1 up. Right.
Injury update on Trent Alexander-Arnold and latest news on Ibrahima Konate. Trent Alexander-Arnold is uncertain for the Carabao Cup final due to injury, as revealed by On Slot following Liverpool's defeat to Paris Saint-Germain. While Slot provided some encouraging news regarding Ibrahima Konate, indicating that his substitution was more about fatigue than injury, the update on Alexander-Arnold was less optimistic. After the 66th-minute substitution due to an injury against PSG, Slot remarked, "He had to come off, which is never a good sign. From what I've heard from those who saw how he got hurt, it doesn't look great. So, I'd be surprised if he's available on Sunday." The injury seemed to occur when Alexander-Arnold twisted his right ankle while getting caught in the turf during a challenge with Vitinha. This injury comes at a tough time for the Scouser, who was enjoying a strong run of form. His absence is even more significant, with Connor Bradley also sidelined. The young right-back has been out of action since leaving the field with an injury against Aston Villa 3 weeks ago. The last proper update we received from Slot about Bradley was on February 25th, when he mentioned he will be out for a few weeks. I can't say exactly how many. With both Bradley and Alexander-Arnold unavailable, Slot turned to Jarell Quansah from the bench against PSG. Although primarily a defender, Kwanzaa appeared somewhat out of place when he first filled in during Liverpool's 3-3 draw with Newcastle back in December. However, the 22-year-old has shown his adaptability, having performed well in various right-side roles, including against the tricky Kvaratskhelia. After the match, Slot added, "The silver lining is that we have a final to play on Sunday. That mindset is probably the best you can ask for because that's why we play football, to compete in finals. We're only 2.5 weeks away from starting the season anew. If we can maintain this intensity for the next 9 matches and bring that same energy from our fans in home games, I'm genuinely excited for the end of the season."